are difficult times. 2020 was tough, and the current year, well, it's no daisy. Daunting obstacles loom. The road forward is fraught with peril, but somehow together we'll get through. And with Almighty God's help and guidance, we'll get through. And in that spirit, I'd like to share some advice from a wise leader, a can-do optimist who recommends taking realistic, positive steps to heal the community. Each of us, no matter how busy, can help a neighbor. We can feed someone hungry or volunteer with a charity. We can show kindness to someone who's down and out. We can strive to be a source of positivity for our family, friends, and social media network. If we show discipline, hard work, and stay the course, we'll make it through, and we'll even be stronger for it. These inspiring words were spoken by Gregg, a true patriot who served Iowa since 2014, first working for Governor Branstad, and now serving as his state's lieutenant governor. Now, I met Adam during the 2020 campaign, battling to keep Iowa red, and the terrific results speak for themselves. Contrary to media forecasts, Republicans won the state, re-elected Senator Joni Ernst, and if I'm correct, flipped 2 House seats. Is that right?
That's right.
Wow, wonderful. And today, Adam joins us in cyberspace to discuss leadership, perseverance, and how adversity has the potential to make us stronger. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm cyberspace, although silent and muted, welcome to Iowa's superb Lieutenant Governor, Adam Gregg.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm sorry I'm a little bit casual. As you can see, I'm coming from my son's ball game. It just finished up. There's my son Jackson in the back of the vehicle. There's Lauren, and my wonderful wife, Carrie, is driving. I promise you I'm not trying to Zoom with you all while I'm driving down the road. But Catherine, thank you for inviting me to be a part of the conversation tonight. Really appreciate your very kind invitation. One of the things that wasn't mentioned in that introduction is the fact that I actually grew up literally right next door to South Dakota. I grew up in Hawarden, Iowa. So if I headed out of town, west or north, I was in South Dakota. And so you guys were mostly pretty good neighbors, I would say, other than occasionally we would lose to Alcester Hudson in sports. And, you know, we do lose too many of our Northwest Iowa graduates to Sioux Falls. But I have very fond memories of South Dakota for a lot of reasons. Number one, my first date with my wife back in high school was in Sioux Falls. And then I also actually cut my teeth politically working on John Thune's campaign in 2004 when he unseated Tom Daschle. I don't even want to tell you how many doors I knocked in Sioux Falls and the surrounding areas in support of now Senator Thune's campaign. Of course, that was back when Daschle was in office and he was the Senate Majority Leader. So he was really going giant hunting there. And I was glad to be a very small part of that as part of the field operation there in the summer of 2004. I also have gotten to know your outstanding Lieutenant Governor, Larry Roden. We cross paths at our Lieutenant Governor meetings, and you know you've got a good Lieutenant Governor when I know there's been a couple times where he had to miss meetings because it was calving season, and that tells you that you've got a really great Lieutenant Governor who's a regular guy, but also knows his way around the Capitol. And so I wish him all the best, and of course wish your whole team the best. One of the main things I wanted to say is thank you. I wanted to say thank you for the work that you do at the local and county level. Lots of the work that the Republican women do is unsung, right? It's behind the scenes. It's the elbow grease setting up an event. It's the organizing a walk day or a call day on a weekend. It's putting together a fundraiser. All those types of things go on behind the scenes, but they're absolutely critical to make our conservative Republican candidates successful. And so I just wanted to start out by saying we couldn't do that without you. We could not have the opportunity to lead without the work that you do. And as Catherine kind of alluded to, we've had a pretty good record here in Iowa. I know that South Dakota has had a great recent history of delivering wins for Republican candidates, but you know, Iowa, we've kind of been a purple state historically, and only recently have we started trending as red as we have. And we had a great year in 2020. We delivered Iowa for President Trump by about 8 or 9 points. sent Joni Ernst back to the United States Senate. Catherine, thank you for your work. And there may have been some others of you who helped out either in person or virtually with that race by calling in and trying to turn up the vote and identify voters for us. Thank you for that. You're absolutely right. We now hold 3 out of 4 congressional districts. We flipped 2 of them in the last election. We were supposed to lose the control of the Iowa House. We actually gained 6 more seats. We now have a supermajority of 59 out of 100 seats for Republicans. In the Senate, we already had a supermajority, and we were supposed to lose a bunch of seats. Instead, we won a bunch of seats that allowed us to stay at that same number, 32 out of 50 Republicans in the Iowa Senate. As Governor Reynolds said on election night, Iowa is now a red state, but we can never take that for granted, as you know. We work to win elections so that we have the opportunity to lead and govern. It's not just about winning for winning's sake. We have to do everything we can to win so that we can lead. And I think 2020 has shown more than any other time how much leadership matters. It absolutely matters who we have sitting in these seats, because, you know, we didn't run on a platform that we'd be better to deal with a global pandemic. You know, that wasn't on anybody's radar in 2018 when Governor Reynolds and I were elected. But instead, it's about when you have an unexpected event like a global pandemic, it shows the values of our leaders. And I'm so proud to have the opportunity to serve with Governor Kim Reynolds. She happens to be the first female governor in our state's history. She is somebody who leads with grace, somebody who has set out a vision for our state, and she's not going to let anything stop her from getting it done. Even a global pandemic, even major natural disasters. We had a storm called a derecho hit in August of last year that was completely unexpected. Perhaps South Dakota was impacted by that at one point, but it was really probably the worst natural disaster that we've ever had in the state of Iowa, coming in the middle of a global pandemic. Governor Reynolds has faced every challenge that has been thrown at us, and she's done it with grace, and we've been able to deal with so much. I also appreciate the fact that during the pandemic, she has struck a balance between protecting the lives of Iowans, but also their livelihoods, and keeping our economy as open as possible so that Iowans can go to work and support themselves and support their families. And, you know, you look at some of the other states on the coast in particular that didn't do that locked down totally. States like New York and California, their results aren't that different from a virus perspective, but their economic results have been disastrous. They completely wrecked their economy as a result of this. Whereas I think we struck an appropriate balance between those things. And again, there was no playbook for this. This was all about the judgment of a leader faced with completely unprecedented challenges. And I'm very proud to have been a small part of that team and to continue to be a part of that team. On other fronts, Governor Reynolds and I are pushing to get conservative priorities done at the legislature. It became fashionable this year for those on the other side of the aisle to talk about defunding the police. I can tell you that Governor Reynolds stood before the Iowa legislature during her condition of the state address and flat out said, we are not going to defund the police in the state of Iowa. We're going to defend the police. We're going to do everything we can to work with them, and we're not going to allow liberal cities to bankrupt their public safety funds. So that's one of the things we've been talking about. Another thing, one of the bills that governor signed just a couple of weeks ago was an election integrity bill. Now, I think in Iowa, we do run clean elections, but we can learn from what other states do and from some of the other challenges. And I think she signed a bill that I think gives confidence to the people of Iowa that our elections will continue to be run with integrity and we can trust the results. And so I'm really proud of that work. And then, of course, Governor Reynolds has been a strong supporter of the right to life and protecting the unborn here in the state of Iowa. She was one of the first governors, maybe even the first governor, to sign a heartbeat bill in the state of Iowa, which I think lays her out as perhaps the most pro-life governor in our state's history. And I know that there's been a number of other governors who since then have been given the opportunity to sign one of those bills. It's one of those things where there are a lot of folks who said, you're going to lose re-election in 2018 if you sign a heartbeat bill. And you know what? We won. And we won in a year when it was very difficult for Republican candidates in the Midwest. We saw Republican governorships go away in Wisconsin and in Kansas and in Michigan and in Illinois in 2018. But Iowa was the exception to that. We won. And I think it's because, again, Governor is not afraid to talk about her priorities and her values and her principles and then stand on them even when it gets tough. And so I think that's really important as well. One of the things I also want to mention is it's important, the work that you do to help elect Republican candidates and conservative leaders is important for another reason, beyond even the policymaking aspect of it. And it's because we will actually run government fairly.